Hi guys, I'm ExactChaos and welcome back to another episode of Transport Fever 2. We're still playing the spring update, and I think we're getting to a point where we really need to actually get into the maths. I think we've done a fairly good job. I wouldn't necessarily claim to have done a great job, but I think we would have done a fairly good job at getting a transport company that's mildly profitable and giving you the ability to then extend your infrastructure and buy new trains and things like that, which is basically what we've done as we've extended throughout the map. Now, one of the key things that I kind of embarked on as part of this challenge was to try and see how much we can get New Haven to grow if we continue to feed the demand. But what was started to become interesting to me is that things like the machines here never actually filled up the full demand. If you hear snoring in the background, that's my little dog, and she is tired and now passed out next to me. So bear with me. We're going to investigate. We're going to start with machines and maybe do a little bit of line math for some of the other pieces as well. So we've got only 74 of the 172 demand being delivered. We have in the past checked coverage. Okay. So if we go into our coverage map over here, which is this one, the machine section, I think, is well served through numerous stations, and so I think our area is well covered. There's a bit of machine demand here, and I believe that is being covered by the station directly. So we shouldn't have too much of an issue. It's really just these down here that needs additional coverage, and they do get it from these two or from these stops that we have over here. So we shouldn't have any big issues with coverage. So coverage is not the issue. Now back to New Haven. Now, so we've got that demand. So if we look at suppliers, we've got a supply of 83 only coming from Fort Worth Machines Factory. So we'll go and have a look at Fort Worth Machines Factory in just a minute. But the first things first, so there's others not actually producing anything at the moment. That's where it's coming from. So let's go over and have a look at the Fort Worth Machines Factory over here. So if we look at this one is producing 175, okay? And a shipment of 168 is occurring. So there's some losses along the line, but very minor. So all of our supply of 175 is being used. Now, if we look at the consumers, that is set up into this area. So 83 of which is going to New Haven, 75 is going to Worcester, and so on and so on. So that you can see is approximately the 175 or so that we are producing. Okay, so clearly we're not going to send any more to New Haven, even though it looks like it can grab some. Basically, how you should say is that the businesses in Worcester has bought 75 of them. They are now here in New Haven, potentially on the platform heading towards those areas. So that's kind of, I think, what's happening over here. And that's why you're seeing this appearing on the line here. Also, certainly like Vancouver could be running through here also. But anyway, so that's basically what's happening. So first things first, why are we only producing 175? We clearly have enough steel to produce more, so we need to up our planks game over here. So where is our planks coming from? So our supply of planks is coming from Fort Worth Sawmill, which is this one right over here. That one is producing fairly high rate, but it can probably produce a little bit more. And its consumers are the Fort Worth Machine Factory and then the Vancouver Tools Factory, which a lot of it does not seem to be being transported. But we'll not worry about that for the time being. We would be able to pretend to up our number a little bit more. What is the number that we would be after altogether over here? Well, probably everything it can do, to be honest. So we may choose to tweak things a little bit over here so that not a lot of this stuff goes the other way. Now we can certainly optimize this a little bit more by producing some more stuff. So it needs In order to produce 400, it needs 400 planks. It needs 800 logs. Let's have a quick look. We are receiving logs 400 and 400 from Vancouver Forest and from Fort Worth Forest. Now, Fort Worth is sending us 400. Let's see, that's this line over here, Fort Worth Forest. So if we go over here, have a look at this, we can see that we're actually moving 587. So we can certainly manage the vehicles on this line and probably send like at least 2 of them. We'll dispose at least 2 of them. And now, if we have a look at the line again, now we're at 440. We could maybe dispose of 1 more vehicle. So let's go and dispose of this vehicle. How do I do it from this screen? Can I? Send to depot? I don't want to do that. I just want to sell it. Interesting. Let's manage the vehicle. There we go. This is the one. And just confirm the disposal straight away. Now, I believe we have a pretty good rate. Oh, actually, now we're a little bit under. So we'll leave it there. We may have to purchase yet another vehicle to get that all right. But maybe it needs to balance out a little bit more. Let's go to the other side and look at the van logs over here. Here you can see we're only actually doing 335. So we can certainly move a bit more, right? There's plenty waiting. So let's manage vehicles here. And we'll add 1 more. So we'll clone that vehicle. And then we'll go back to the van logs line. Yeah, okay, that's all good. We'll clone, add another one. Now we're at 403. So that should be all good. So now we should definitely see about getting that number a little bit better. Now, of course, what we'll need to do is we need to move a lot more to New Haven. And I thought the way we should do this is probably we would like to get our rate is not bad, but what I thought we should do is probably split it into 2 different trains so that we have a more consistent supply, because this loop takes a bit of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to manage the line. Manage the vehicles is what I'm actually after. Manage the vehicles on the line. Okay. And I'm going to firstly tweak it a little bit. I'm going to edit the selected vehicle. I think it's too long. I don't think we need to do 300 in there. So let's drop a few of these wagons, 250 maybe. How many wagons do we have now? I think we've dropped it a little bit, 250, maybe 1 more. So something like that, a 234 gives us a good rating over here. So let's modify that. That's now 13. If I have another look at the line, the rate has now gone to 212, which I like the idea of, because that means we're going to be just a little bit over 400 if we duplicate the train. So then we duplicate the train. We've got an extra train on the line. That gives us just a little bit over 400, which is approximately what we would like to move. So let's run it at a super fast speed right now and see if we are able to move the needle a little bit on our factory over here. So I would like to see that number go up from 175 to say at least around the 200 mark. I'm not sure we're going to get enough planks as it stands at the moment to get it way beyond that. But maybe, I mean, we're putting enough capacity on there to do about 400. But I'm not sure unless we stop moving stuff to this tool factory over here. I'm not sure we're going to be able to achieve that. So that's a little bit, let's say, an improvement in terms of our line balancing. So we tweaked this line over here, which, to be honest, may still be a bit of a problem. But given that these are kind of standing here, we may find that, well, actually, seems to continuously provide a pretty decent supply there. This guy isn't stopping. I would love to see this guy go up to the full 400. We're definitely moving a little bit more. That's one of our trains going out. Might be the new one. I would love to see this one go up all the way to 400. We're definitely that right there is looking pretty good. Yeah, so we're constantly throwing stuff in here. Its consumption needs to go up to about 800 is the plan. So I'm hoping our additional trucks on the van line over here The van logs line is going to help with that. We're slightly still pretty much where we were. We'll have to see those two, the new train running to be able to achieve a better consumption, but I mean a better transport. But the question is, I think this guy never stops, right? This guy never runs out. There's constantly vehicles stopping here off all the time. Oh, it almost ran out there. So yeah, the question is, we could maybe add an extra one. Yeah, we're out. So this line, not the van line, the other line, I'm going to add one more line because that's a little under. So let's duplicate one more vehicle there. And then if we hit that one again, now we should be, oh, yeah, well, anyway, we should now at least sort out a little bit so that this guy doesn't actually drop. We need something being stored there all the time in order to make that work. Now, coming back over here, is this thing, have we seen any changes over here? No, oh, yeah, there we go. We're slowly starting to see a little bit more movement there. We're obviously bringing in way more steel than we need to. That guy is popping up to 200 now. And the question is that going to New Haven? A component of that is going to New Haven. Some of it's going to Vancouver, which means that that's all running through New Haven, Vancouver. So that's a bit of a up there. So New Haven is now up over the 100 mark, which is something that I like to see here. So let's go back to that overview. Oh, look at that. That is upping enormously. Got it stored. Yes, now that's starting to look way better. So that means we should now, it's not going to upgrade. It's fully upgraded. But I think that's going to see New Haven get a fair bit more. Now, the next step is to see that we're actually moving the appropriate amount. Now, so where are we moving these machines to? The NH machines is on this train. So this train is allowing 260 to go to New Haven. Okay, so let's park that right over there. I just want to pin it there so we can keep that in mind. So we're moving 260 per minute or hour, or I don't know what that rate is, but these rates are obviously all comparable. So New Haven is getting some of it, not quite seen here just yet. We can go over here and see that New Haven is getting 140 at this point of 260, but ultimately what we're after is probably around 175. So we need at least 175 to go this way. Then we also have Worcester, and we'll see how Worcester is getting their stuff. They need 160. So 175 and 160 gives us, that's 335 or something like that. So, and that'll continue to grow. And the other one that's looking for it is Vancouver, needing another 30. So that's practically the 400 that we've got. So we need to make sure that this line is actually moving about 400. And again, what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to manage the vehicles and I'm going to split it into two different trains. So let's do that. I'm going to leave that there so I can see that rate. I'm going to drop that rate a little bit. So we can probably remove one wagon from it. So let's edit the selected vehicle. We remove one wagon from it and we modify it and we see what that gives us. That gives us, we might do another one. Try and get the train to be a little bit more efficient. We're going to edit it again. We're going to remove yet another one. And we're going to modify that. And that's going to drop it down to 230. Probably one more should be all good. And then we'll just have a little bit over the 200 mark there. There we go, about 220. So there's a bit of a 10% buffer in there. So now it's a slightly shorter train. Hopefully it's running a little bit better. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and clone it as well. So now we've got two trains running. That's just over the 400 that will be dropped off over here. Okay, now from here, how are we moving stuff? So that line is the line that is moving our, and there's an easy way to have a look at things like this. So if we go here to our line statistics and we say just the train lines, and we're saying just the ones moving in the filter here, just the ones moving the machines. So we can see that's the one that we've just tweaked. This one is the one that's moving it to Vancouver. So we'll come back to that last. But this line is the one that's probably moving it between Colorado Springs here and Worcester and New Haven. So let's open up that line and see what is happening with that. So let's manage the line. So let's say, so it starts at New Haven. At New Haven, it is picking up food and it's unloading machines. So that's simple. Then it comes into Colorado Springs West on its way to north to Worcester. So now it is picking up. Okay. And what we can do is, because it uses the same stuff, we can now actually say, so from its rate of 400, we would only like about half of it to be using. So if we're going here, we don't want it to fill up on food. Actually, hang on. Is it dropping off food over here? It is. It is. So that's okay. That's okay then. So that's okay. So let's leave it as that for the time being, right? So then it's coming into Colorado Springs. It's dropping off food and it's loading machines. We'll leave that for the time being. We can obviously change our loading limits and things like that. Then it goes to Worcester North, where it is going to load tools and it's going to drop off machines and food. So now the issue is it loading too much tools? And from my perspective, when it comes back to Colorado Springs, it's going to unload tools again and so on. So this is where we're going to have to start looking at potentially min-maxing it a little bit. And then it is running down with the rest of it it's loading machines to go down to New Haven. So now, when we're looking at the rates here, we are moving about 483. So how much of that needs to then be, so let's just say, so if we're saying, well, actually, what's the capacity of these trains? Let's just take one of these trains and have a quick look at the capacity of it. So it's 270 capacity. So if we're saying we would like it to, well, you know what? Let's just leave it as that for the time being and see how much it's actually running through here before we start tweaking it. Because we could then start tweaking these things, like saying, coming over here to Colorado Springs and saying, oh, well, actually, you're only going to load about 70% of it or something, or 90% or 80% of it, right? Because that's kind of the idea. You don't want to fill up your train with machines, but bearing in mind it also needs to go to Vancouver. So let's leave it at that. That can be quite complex, especially because we're moving multiple goods. If you were only moving, say, and in the same wagons, if you were only moving one thing, it's pretty easy to make sure you get your levels right. Or if you're only moving between two towns, it's good to get your levels right. Okay, so that's it. So let's unpause it, have a bit of a look at what is going to happen over here. So we should have a fair bit of machines. Machines is waiting to go north to Worcester, but nothing is going to New Haven at this point in time. So that 80 is about to be loaded to go up north. So I'm going to keep an eye out when that train, in fact, does arrive. That is an oil train. We don't need to worry about that too much. So we're going to hang out here just for a minute or two to see when our next train is going to arrive. And that could also be a train full of machines, to be honest. But yeah, so I think the rate on this one and the frequency of that train is such that, so this train is going to load absolutely nothing because there's no, okay, let's pause it there for a second. Grab this train, okay. That train is full of tools. It's going to drop off these tools, and I don't think it's going to load any machines, right? Because the new machines haven't actually been shipped from the machine factory. Throw it all out, and it's empty. This one, on the other hand, so that one is leaving. It wasn't anything there for it to go. So really, the split up into the two trains was exactly the right thing for us to do. This one is going to drop some stuff off, and it's going to load up on 80. I think we don't need to balance it out much more. Let's see. This guy is loading. Will it actually fully load it? And let's pin that one while we quickly have a look at this one here as well. So that one has just dropped off a fair bit of machines. And if we have a look at this, nothing for New Haven. That's interesting. Now, the issue is, I do wonder. So that one was empty then. So that one arrived empty. Nothing on it. Okay, so now what I'm wondering about is it going to unload all of it? Because there's nothing here wanting to go to New Haven. And let's keep this one pinned while we have a quick look at it. So nothing is going to New Haven. But I want to see if we're actually going to drop this one off. So we potentially have a little bit of a situation where this is going via Worcester to New Haven, which is not quite ideal, but obviously we'll probably making more money from it. I want to see if it's actually moving everything. So we still aren't getting any new machines arriving. And I want to see this guy arriving at Worcester, and I want to see if it unloads all of it. It can't load machines there. There's another one coming in with nothing to load here. So these trains are running through too frequently, and the other one is coming too slowly. That's basically what's happening. So that's where the frequency is saying, well, they're kind of mismatched in the time that they take to arrive here. There comes. Oh, that's the materials. Now, let's see. This guy is supposed to unload everything. I would love to see him unload everything here. It's actually keeping 4 of it on there, which is a little bit more interesting. So the question is, do we anyway, I'm not sure how we're going to manage those demands. I'm not sure if that's a possibility. Still, nothing has arrived to go back to New Haven yet. So yes, certainly our frequency on this line is a bit of a problem. So let's have a quick look. If we look at this guy, oh, that's bringing a ton of stuff over here. But this guy might arrive before it. I'm almost tempted to give it a little bit of a stop. Up a little bit there. I just want to get this the pink train to get here a little before it. Okay, now go again. It's obviously blocking a lot of stuff there. I just wanted to see what happens if we do this. And I also want to see if we quickly stop that one just for a minute. Go again. This guy is unloading and it's going in both directions. Excellent. Oh, that guy didn't want to stop there? That's interesting. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about that too much. The New Haven is going to load up here. That's fully loaded, going all the way. Abandoned industry. That's fine. Okay, so now I think what this means is we're going to see a little bit more happening on New Haven. But yeah, clearly, we just missed that train to actually drop the stuff off here. Okay. Yeah, so that one's going up there with very little. This one's coming back down. There's going to be nothing to go down into. They're very close together, these trains, is what I'm kind of finding. I think this guy, I would like to park in there. It's loading up on tools. It's turning around. I'm going to stop it right there. Just want to wait until that other train actually gets to New Haven and turns around to leave. So we're managing those this a little bit more. Yeah, the fact that we've got three trains on the line obviously is slightly more problematic. But yeah, so this is how we're kind of trying to balance it out a little bit more now by min-maxing a few things. Yeah, it's a bit of a wait here. I would like it to just turn around. I think we don't have any issues with this train kind of hanging out over here. Perfect. Now that one will turn around and we will let this one leave as well. So hopefully they'll be arriving here at roughly about the same time. Now we've got lots of machines going in both directions and hopefully our train should be able to move those. So if I come back down here to New Haven, now we should be seeing a bit more fulfillment. I'm still quite flabbergasted by why we're not seeing that, unless it's still being moved. Yeah, it's still being moved. We've got some stuff here waiting to go on the line, but that's fairly limited numbers. Oh yeah, that's starting to go up a little bit. Oh yes, it must be on the stuff already. Okay, excellent. Now we're starting to see that moving a little bit more. So that's all good. So I don't mind us not necessarily getting the lines perfectly balanced, but I think that's kind of the intent. Fort Worth now accepts a new cargo type, which is construction materials, and it's probably getting an extra one as well. So Fort Worth is starting to get a little bit more from this process, and now it wants tools also. So now this is going to become even more complex because we're managing more things through here. Because we're not running dedicated trains for dedicated goods and dedicated towns, we are needing to balance this out a lot more carefully. But we are starting to see a bit more of a supply of machines here. Not perfect, but we're starting to see it a little bit. Okay, so that should help us run things a little bit better. If I pop in here, what's happening? This guy is moving about 250 now, which is it's about a 75 increase. That's kind of, I think, balancing it out now with regards to the planks, which I'm not quite seeing. This guy is trying to load 200, so that's okay. That's good. Keep running. This guy's just coming through here. So planks still might be... where's my planks trains? Yeah, here they come. Pretty full, actually. But they're not quite keeping pace. So, and the reason for that, to a large extent, might be because we're not actually moving... we're not actually seeing the supplier send as much. Yeah, we're still at around the 235 mark. I'm not going to worry too much about the steel there for the time being. So now, if we go back to this facility, just want to see. So it's actually operating at 400 now. So the changes we've made is getting it there. We're seeing a fair bit of stored stuff in here. So it can definitely maximize what it's sending out. So it should be sending out around 400. And that is exactly the number. So 236 is going to Fort Worth machines. But of course, we need a fair bit more of that. Now, the question is, do we instead try and provide this over here? I think the answer is yes, if we can find a forest. Since we don't have a forest, we're a little bit... oh, here we go. That might be an appropriate way because we've already got this going on over here. So what I'll do now is I will quickly establish this stuff here. So let's try and get a bit of a train line building in here. We need to... basically, what we need to do is we need to dedicate this facility to go there, which is kind of what we're ready to do. We could do this one, but we don't have forests nearby. We could do that one. Anyway, it's challenging. It's challenging for us to move some of these things and figure out where exactly we're going to move stuff from to get to where they want to go. But the idea is generally, what is this? Let's have a quick look at what this is actually needing at this point in time. It is supplying 163 from there. So we need 163. This guy can quite comfortably offer us up to 200 from 400 here. So a single setup here, right, could give us everything we need on this side. So I think that's going to be the easiest in terms of the lines we have available. So what I will do, I will set up 2 quick train stations over here instead. So let's just do, I'm going to do 2 and we're going to extend it. And it's going to be, well, it doesn't necessarily need to be high speed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to park it there. Okay. and I will continue to do. So what I'll do is I'll get rid of that section of road there, and we'll quickly do this one. Okay, so we'll do something like this. So we can potentially run through stations through here. What I'll do in the meantime, I'm gonna do that. We are all connected, right? We are still all connected, so I don't even have to reconnect those. Now let's quickly get a bit of line in place here. So I'm gonna do something like this. That's gonna be all good. Okay, and well, the question is, we only need the one, right? It's just going to be back and forth over there. And then from this side, we're going to try and tie this in at a pretty reasonable turn here. Yeah, that's good. That's fine. For freight, that's going to be absolutely fine. And what we'll do is we will allow it to swap up over here at a pretty reasonable 120 kilometers an hour. So it's just going to switch across there very quickly. We'll get a couple of signals in place here. So we'll do a signal there and a signal here. Probably don't need much else in terms of signals through here, because we're just going to do probably one train. Well, it might be multiple trains, so we'll have to have a look. So that's basically what we're going to do now. Now we're going to set up a couple of lines here. I will need to quickly do this, tie this one over there so we can actually get a train out there. Do we want to do... I don't think we need to do that. Okay, so let's quickly set up a couple of lines. So first, I need this line to come from here and go over there. That's going to be a very straightforward shunt. It's just going to run back and forth on that section there, as simple as that. So that is going to be Elizabeth, or let's just do it ELZ logs. Oh, you know what? That's not gonna. It's obviously not gonna work. We need to connect them together. So I'm going to run that through there. Okay. And the next one is going to be running from here all the way through. So now the next line is going to be running from here, Elizabeth Planks, all the way in here, and we may have to make that a little better, but basically, yeah, that should be all good. Splitting. Please don't do that. Why are you not? Do we have no? That's interesting. We have no actual. Anyway, let's just rename this quickly. So this is going to be ELZ planks. Okay, that's fine. And what we'll do is we certainly need to put some signals on here. This is quite a crazy little setup. So we'll put a signal there and there. We'll put a signal here and there. And there and there. We'll have multiple trains running here now. So we will need to do a bit of this work. Okay, so that might be sufficient. Let's double check that line again. So we have the Elizabeth Planks line. ELZ Planks, if I can find it. There we go. It is now running properly. Switching over and running that little section and running straight through there. So that should be all good. So now I can get a couple of trains on there quickly. So here, we're going to buy ourselves a train in this location. We're going to buy ourselves a vehicle, something that doesn't necessarily move at a rapid rate, which I think this one is going to be all good. So we're going to buy that one, plus some cargo in the form of this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Maybe something like that. Yeah, something like, if we do that, it remains excellent. So it should be very quick. So let's buy that one. We'll assign it to Elizabeth logs. Okay, and what we can have a look at now is what Elizabeth logs is supposed to be in terms of rate. So that's an enormous rate. So what I can do is I can manage this vehicle and make it half of what it is. So let's quickly tweak this, and we'll drop it so it's maybe 100 or so, 90. We'll do that. That's going to be perfect. It's going to be much shorter and easier to run, and it's going to give us exactly the rate that it needs to go. So it's not going to be a lot of empty wagons all the time. This is an absolute disaster getting stuff through here, of course, and we should have probably seen about how we can get it through. What we can certainly also do to help this out a little bit is we could... What is that? Come on. Why doesn't this want to... Oh, there we go. So we'll do that in hopes that it can path in any direction, but these two are obviously keeping things locked in here. Let's speed things up as much as we can. Maybe if that one clears through there, it'll now path through. Still nothing. Now this one, will it go? Still nothing. Do I need... it has to be able to move now, right? Really? Well, what we can... I'm not sure. We should probably get some signals in here then. Let's do something like that and see if that helps us out. That's getting us up to that point. This is quite complex, so trying to get it through here is a bit of a challenge. Okay, try and get that through here. I mean, obviously I should probably try and get some extra lines in here. Why is it still waiting? Now there it's going. A new steel mill in Dallas. Not sure I'm going to make use of that. Got a pretty active steel mill. Now it's going to head through there. Now, okay, so that's our right there. Now the next one is trying to move this from here. So I'll quickly do this as the last thing I'm going to do in this episode. So, actually, cancel, close that line. That's not what I had in mind. Now, what I need to do is I now need to move this train. Come on, click it. Click it, moving the Van Planks line. Only has the one train on it, okay? I want to manage this vehicle by assigning it to the Elizabeth Planks line. Okay, so how it's going to get there at this stage might be a bit of a challenge. It's going to go to Vancouver sidings. Let's park it there. Let's turn it around to go to wherever it needs to go. You should have a free path. Oh, you're waiting for this guy to get through. And now you should be able to join it. Excellent. So now immediately the rest of this demand can move on to our other track. So we'll get that one to get on that line. Now the consumers here, it can start moving way more stuff to Fort Worth machines, which is exactly what we were after. That is the plan. Still trying to move stuff to Vancouver Tool Factory. It's not doing that. There we go. It's gonna, well, that's the suppliers. It's gonna move it over to Fort Worth machines, which is exactly what I needed. This guy should actually, well, go to Vancouver sidings. There's no problem with that. What we'll need to do then is have a quick look at what the rate of that is. So that rate, is that rate sufficient? So we're getting 400 across here. So that should give us 200. So that is a sufficient rate. that is a sufficient rate. But what I was kind of thinking is whether we still, again, for this one, maybe split it into two. Okay, let's get it to run. Let's get it up to where it needs to go. Okay, so we'll need to get it up to where it needs to go. And then I think what I'll do is I'll actually split it into two trains so we can get a better frequency of the goods. So as it clears through here, yeah, that's good. What we'll do is we'll manage the vehicle. I'm going to go ahead and reduce it by half. So we're going to go do about 6 of it on it. So we'll just how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, let's modify it like so first, and we'll have a quick look here. Is that? Oh yeah, that's still enough. Let's modify it again. We'll remove one more. Okay, and now we'll check that again. Now it's about 137. We'll probably even drop yet another one and then duplicate the vehicles. Will we do that? Let's leave it at 6, and what we'll do is we'll get another one squeezed in, and that'll give us a proper rate. We can obviously drop the wagons if we wanted to, but that'll give us a proper rate of stuff being moved. There's plenty of stuff coming over, so this guy is practically is going to run full all the time at the appropriate rate. Excellent, and this one is loading up absolutely full. And I'm hoping the next one is coming through. Yes, absolutely. They're pretty well. In line here. What I will do. Oh, there's a section through there, so it will provide a bit of a gap, so it can start moving through there. Yeah, that should clear. Yeah, that should clear. Okay, that's good. That's good. Excellent. That's good. This one is coming back down. Excellent. Okay, good stuff, guys. I'm going to put the end in that episode there. Let's pop in over here, have a quick look at our consumers. Excellent. Look at that. We are going to see way more production happening over here, though it may take a little bit of time for that to reflect within the network because obviously things need to move. But I can already see that is going up. That is going up. And our consumers should be happier as well. So we are starting to see a lot more planned to be shipped towards New Haven. Let's quickly finalize having a look here at New Haven, seeing that, oh, well, we can still move a fair bit more, but that's all good. We are moving in the right direction. It'll take a bit of time to work our way through some of these things. Guys, thank you so much for watching. That was a pretty long episode, and I'm hoping you enjoyed us actually doing the math for once, or trying to do some of the math for once, and balancing some of these lines. I know you've been mentioning that in the comments quite a lot. So anyway, now that we are in a position where we actually need to min-max that a little bit more, we are doing so. So if you've enjoyed it, please hit that like button. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.